Looking good, eh? So I wanted to start working on some of the mechanical bits. The brake, rear brake. But before I can do that, I need to make the rear brake plate stay. So normally you've got a bar, like locks it into the swing arm or the hardtail, stops it spinning round. So I'm going to make that. But before I can make that, I need to make the last two spacers for centering the back wheel. So let's crack on with it and make some spacers. Lay the clock.
Thousands of tears later.
Another one of those jobs where I wish I had 14 arms. I'll get it in. So the left side spacer is slightly different. So the way the Cubs actually work, they run like a weird little stub axle that attaches to the swing arm and then passes through and sits on the bearing. Now, what I've done is I've made an internal spacer, which I'll show you guys in a minute, to replace that stub axle. The bearing on this side is, I want to say 14mm centre, like ID, and then the bearing on that side is 12mm ID. I'm using a 12mm axle. So now, if I'll show you. Let me take it apart. It'll make so much more sense. So, that's a 10mm internal. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that one's a 14mm. So the way it actually works, the stub axle passes through this bit and attaches the sprocket side to the swing arm. And then obviously it's got a smaller internal diameter. The axle passes through. So I've had to make two spacers. I need one that rests against this bearing that passes through this bearing. That goes together like that. But I've just realised this needs a little bit more length. So when that's pressed in place, there's a gap there. So I'm going to measure the difference there and just return that. It's a quick piece to make. So now I need to make another spacer that presses up against the internal of that bearing and up against this with a 10mm hole down the middle and obviously bigger on the outside so it seals the bearing. So I'm going to take some measurements, do a drawing, and then get that turned up on the lathe. So I've got a few stages to this. I'm going to do it in steps. That's going to be our big spacer. I need to 12mm hole down the middle, square the ends off, and then I can start taking material off the outside to bring it down to 28mm. And at the moment it is 32mm. So yeah, I'll get on with that and we'll test fit it and go from there. So step one is done. Goes in nicely. I don't know if you can see it spinning, but it touches the inner face perfectly. Perfectly. I'm going to take a little bit off of this outer, just so it doesn't wear the seal up on the bearing. Yeah, a tiny bit off, I reckon. But yeah, that's done. Next step is going to be, I need to remake this and add a few mil on this end, but that needs to mate in there perfectly. And I wish I could make it as one piece, but obviously I can't. Right. So, oh, look at that lovely fit. Lovely. Lovely, lovely fit in there. So that spacer goes in there. And then presses up against the inner bearing, sits flush. That's the outer spacer, which I still need to take the size down. That goes right in that sill, and everything is lovely. Yeah, it took a while to get right. Originally, I was gonna have that one sit inside this one, but that just overcomplicates things for no reason whatsoever. That is perfectly flush. Sits on there, axle goes through, job's a good un. So now I'm gonna go wrestle with this, mock it up, which I'm gonna make you watch. Get this wheel back in and work out how much I need to take off this spacer. It's quite an awkward measurement to make because obviously you've got the axle plates in the way. So yeah, I'm gonna get it ballpark close and then see. Well, I've done that 30 times. That didn't take 14 hours like it normally does. Right. So I have cheated and put that in without the brake plate because that's a bit of a wrestle, but I wanted to make sure the wheel was still in the middle. And it is. It's only rolling wonky because the axle's not. So that's in. Let's put the brake plate in. Let's scream and swear a bit. Oh, why is it stuck? There we go. Come on. I mean, this is awkward at the best of times, let alone when you've made everything and you've got an obsession with overly tight tolerances. And we're in. Oh, no. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Happy with that. Wheels in, spacers are in. Now I need to make that into an axle. That's not a job for today because I need the right size die. Really happy with that. Obviously the wheel's going to sit further forward. We're in the middle of the bike. Spacer there. Spacer there. I'm going to check the chain run, but yeah, it will line up. There's the laser on the front sprocket. So front, rear. tab's all made up. It's all centered in place, exactly where I want it. I'm going to do something with that spacer. I think I might make something out of brass. Don't know yet. Like, come on, you know me, I just wing it. Work it out as I go along. So yeah, let's get that tacked in place. So that's tacked on. You don't need to watch me finish weld it. Super chuffed with how this is looking now. Loads done this week. Glad I got that back wheel in properly, made up those spacers. That little tab sits nice. Just need to decide whether I'm going to make something out of brass or aluminium, like something to kind of tie the brake plate to the frame. But super happy so far. So again, guys, thanks for watching. It is fucking freezing out here again. Look at that. Can't wait for warmer days. So I'm going to go inside, warm up, probably have a hot bath, maybe something to eat, and then play some video games. I'll see you guys soon.